Hey, welcome to the home edition of the DOYO Live Marketing Show. That's right, home game today. Little change up, flying blind as well. I lost my reading glasses, and I am struggling mightily. And I got a really big day ahead of me, so I don't know what we're gonna do. I just can't pack it in, but expecting some senior-itis-like weather this weekend as we ring in March. That's right, ring in March with the Irish Woman of the Year. Shannon Lehn.
2022.
We are ringing in, um, let's just call it St. Patrick's Day month, celebrating the Irish Americans, and all the things that they've contributed to our country, honoring them. March obviously 17th, but we've got a whole month of activities, and Shannon's like our spokesperson and our tie into the Irish community on today's show. So thank you, Shannon, for being here. Today's show is brought to you by Lift Marketing. And also another fine friend of the Irish, Crow's Cabinets. So little home brew. Usually we're at Stone Fruit Coffee, but this is my custom built Crow's Cabinet coffee mug, little home brew this morning. And they do, proud to work with them. Residential kitchen, bath, man cave, she shed, laundry rooms, custom storage, you name it, they got you covered. Also commercial casework. And do a fantastic job. Locally owned, locally operated, and very Irish. Actually, I just signed them up to march in the St. Patty's Day Parade. Actually, I can't say that to Irish people. St. Patrick's Day Parade in Boardman coming up March 13th, which is my wife's birthday. So I cannot march in the parade that day.
Tim Crow is a very good Irishman. And he is a friend to the Mahoning Valley Irish Festival, which I know we may touch on. But you can say St. Patty. You cannot say St. Patty. So because it's Patrick with a D, not, and so you can say St. Paddy.
Okay, St. Patty's.
Yes.
Thank you for that education as we head into this month. I appreciate
Absolutely.
it. So Shannon, thank you for being here today. Shannon's headed up the Austintown Farmers Market for a while. We've got to talk about the Irish Festival that you're bringing to Youngstown, the Youngstown region, in July, which is super exciting. We lived in Columbus, in Ohio, for 7 years, and the Irish Festival in Dublin, Ohio, a rather large festival, was always in the summertime. So it's really cool to see that you're bringing that here. Want to hear more about that? And then also congratulations on your nomination, or your being recognized as Irish Woman of the Year. That's fantastic.
Thank you very much. I'm truly humbled and honored.
So what hill are you from, right? Isn't that like so in Italy, my heritage, my family says, what part of Italy are you from? What region? Then we boil it down to the town. But in Ireland, it's what hill are you from, right?
I've never heard that, but I don't know that is not true.
Okay, so then I just made that up.
Well, no, you know what? I'm constantly learning things about my Irish heritage and the way that things work. And, like I was just talking in some groups with some people asking about kilts and the tartans and things like that. Where my family is from is County Mayo, and also up around the Derry area. So I have family in from two sides. I'm Irish on my mom's side and on my dad's side. But my mom's side is my great grandparents immigrated from Ireland in 1890 at 15 years old. And they came from Glenhest in County Mayo. So glorious Glenhest.
When they got to America, obviously through New York, were they the first of the generation to then make it to the Midwest, or was that then second generation after them? Do you know?
My great grandparents were the first of their generation. My great grandmother, her name was Bridget, and here's a little bit of Irish trivia for you. The term Old Biddy is short for Bridget, and Old Biddy means Irish washwoman. And so she changed her name to Delia, so that because it was in the day and age that Irish need apply and the dirty Irish. And so she changed her name to Delia so that she could find work and help support her family. She went to the Cleveland area. My great grandfather, Thomas Colleran, came to the Youngstown area. And, somehow or another, they met up and ended up setting up house in Warren, got married, had 6 kids. And yeah, and that's where we all came from.
Yeah.
So,
You know, I always wonder this too. Like, I understand why. I understand why our immigration ended up here. At the time that it did, in the work that was readily available for, an immigrant community, right? But I'm like, so you could have picked anywhere, and you plunk it down right in Youngstown, Ohio. But I do love it here. I lived away for
mhm.
about 20 years, and we've been back for 8 years. It's been amazing. Like, I mean, I really like living here.
I love our area. I really, really do. There's there are times there are challenges with the
Sure.
weather, you know, um, but I really think our summers here are the best.
It's
I
so
love how lush things are and
Yeah,
green
it's
and
so
beautiful.
green here. Like,
Yeah.
it's so alive and it's so green here. Like, you just yeah.
Yeah. So and that's not to kind of segue, but that's one of the things. Our farmers market right now, we're having monthly markets that are indoors, but our season runs from June through August.
Okay.
And I'm always known as the girl who's barefoot walking around with the camera because I just in knock wood, I've never been stepped on a bee or been stung by a bee. And I think that's because what part of we have yoga there, and I'll always go up to the hill and take pictures of yoga. And on my way there or on my way back, I'm always mesmerized by the bumblebees and the clover. And I stop and take pictures of them and I talk to the bees because, that's kind of the dork I am. And I probably have 500 pictures of like little tiny bees and clover. But that's one of the things is just being able to walk outside, being able to be barefoot, being able to have that lush green grass under your feet and have that nice cool breeze and hear the leaves rustling in the trees. It's I love living here.
Yeah. It is a good segue though, because I was gonna ask you, like, so um uh, how long has the Austintown Farmers Market existed?
This is our ninth year. So
Right.
we started in 2014. So
So
I know if you
you brought a new concept to the area, right? I think, like,
maybe.
yeah, I mean, like, I don't see um so when we lived in Columbus, when we lived in New York City, it was very commonplace to have a city center where produce was brought to
Mhm,
the outdoor market, right? We
mhm,
had the North Market in Columbus, multiple places in New York City. Union Square Park was probably the largest. And in Youngstown, our farms are really accessible. So you've
mhm,
got there's no shortage of a farm that becomes the produce mechanism in growing season.
mhm.
And so because of that accessibility, you really haven't seen the farmers markets like you do in other cities. But you introduced a concept that was in a Columbus, that was in a New York City. So how have people gravitated towards that? What was it like early on? Tell me about the farmers market.
Okay. Well, I have to tell you first and foremost, I completely stole the idea from others. So Howland and Warren were farmers markets were around before we were, and they have been great older siblings. I want to say,
Right.
they've been great examples. They've been great mentors. They have been great advocates for us and great collaborators. Um, my sister, I just have to tell you the story of how it started. I was teaching yoga. I'm a yoga instructor as well.
Okay.
But I was teaching yoga at Lake Milton, was having a farmer's market, and my son was playing football at the time at St. Christine's. And it was on Saturday mornings. And I said, well, yoga in Lake Milton to football at St. Christine's, I got to go see my son play football. And we had a lot of people coming to yoga. It was a very successful class, but I said, "You know what? I got to be a mom first." And so my sister said, "Well, the yogis don't come anymore and they kind of spent a lot of money. So could you please come back? Because she was a vendor at the market.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I won't come back. I got to be a mom first, but I also teach yoga Monday nights at Austintown Township Park. It would be a great venue. We don't have anything like that in, the Austintown, Canfield, Cornersburg, area. So let's see if we could do a farmer's market. I asked our park supervisor, Todd Schaefer, who's been extremely supportive and a great friend to our market. And he said his answer was just bring people to my park, just show them the park. And so our first market, we started with about 5 vendors. It was very much a learning experience. I knew absolutely nothing about what I was doing and kind of learned as I went. And we have several of the same vendors still with us. And, they've all just been amazing and very gracious and patient and kind with me. And I love them very much. And it's grown from there. It's grown. So now it depends, during the summer, it depends week to week how many people we may have, depending on availability. But we can have up to 30 vendors during the
Wow.
summertime. And we have free kids crafts, library comes out and does visits. We have different organizations that come out and do different things. We have free
Has
yoga. Go ahead.
the sense of community and the growth and the attraction, in addition to the food that is at the market?
Oh God, yes. Yes, 100%. We've done surveys of our patrons and asked them what they like about the market. And one thing that always stuck with me is we've had people say it's our date night. It's our time that we can get out and, we go to the market together and we walk around and they see the vendors, and the vendors become friends. Everyone becomes friends and it becomes a community. But you'll see people bringing their dogs out. There's a wonderful dog park out at Austintown Park too. But you'll see people bringing their dogs out. People are bringing their kids out. Dads and kids are playing tag on the green. We have the Laughing Ladybug comes out and does face painting and balloon animals for donations that all go to cancer charities. And they'll make balloon swords for the kids, and the
Yeah.
kids are having sword fights, and nobody's on a screen. I mean, and technology is an amazing thing. I mean, just look at us right now.
Right.
Like the screens are a part of our daily life, but kids are in the grass playing. I mean, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it truly has been. I've met some of my best friends through the market. I have had some of the best collaborations, and I know it's been the same way with a lot of our vendors and our patrons. It's really, really become a community. And what the biggest thing about that was, like I said, for the first several years, I had no idea what I was doing. And so my confidence level was not great.
Yeah.
And I was very much like, well, the committee will review and, well, we think, and I have help. I have a helper who comes and helps me at the market, and I have people I can bounce ideas off of and things like that. For the most part, though, the market's all me. And I didn't want to own that. I didn't want to own the responsibility. I didn't want to own the praise. People come out to the market, they'll say, who's in charge? I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's that lady over there. Go talk to her. And but once I started to say, hey guys, it's just me. If you could be a little bit patient with me, if we could work together, if we could, it grew. I mean, like stupid fast. Like it just kind of took off, and people really started to, we talked to each other. And I didn't, and I just started to say, like, I sent an email out. We're having our next market is going to be March 11th. It's a Friday night market from 5 to 8, and it's inside Stacy Pavilion of Austintown Township Park. But the picture that I sent was a picture of the ice on the branches of our tree outside, and of my puppy, who I have an 8-month-old golden retriever shelter dog. So she was deemed not to be show worthy. So she was surrendered to a shelter, and I was blessed to adopt her. But she was staring up at the birds in the trees at the bird feeder. And those were the pictures I sent. And that's kind of the things that we do, is we share our personal stories,
Sure.
and those connections have been created. And I think it's so awesome.
So I'm a big believer that um, what I'll call it in a good way, and I look at this as a positive because I've had similar experiences to starting a marketing conference and not really understanding the depths of what I kind of started and got myself into. In various projects that I've taken on throughout my career, being naive ends up really being exceptional growth.
Yes.
There's no substitution for the first day of school feeling. And so I really love any opportunity is like we can come back this year and do our marketing conference just like we've done it in the past.
Hmm.
But I refuse to do that. And the reason is that not only is it a challenge, but there's something very positive in being naive that generates growth. And so we will not replicate what we've done in the past just because of the fact that this was the successful model. And I know that scalability means that you have to be repeatable, but I'm not looking to be the biggest. But I do think that what you said is that early on, you really didn't have you didn't run a farmer's market. And that naiveness helps, I think, to grow because there's no limitations on what you don't know.
Exactly. Well, and
We can't have that under there. We can't have, right. There's a lot of, as you don't know, you're just kind of going. That's what I hear, right?
it, and not to segue you again, but that's kind of what happened with the Irish Festival.
Okay.
Is that my husband and I went to the Cuyahoga Falls Irish Festival
Right.
back in June, and we're walking around, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, why don't we have this in Youngstown? Yeah, those darn Italians have all the festivals, which are great and amazing. And that's one of the things I love about Youngstown is the melting pot that we are. I was, God, I'm having a brain fog moment, but Thomas Welsh, he's a historian in the Youngstown area, and he interviewed me for his book, Irish in Youngstown, that he's writing right now. But he had asked me what I love about Youngstown, and I'm like, you can throw a rock and find someone with deep ethnic roots,
Sure.
and with a different ethnicity of yours, and we all learn from each other, and we all have that melting pot, and I love that. But we were at the Cuyahoga Falls Irish Festival, and I said, I run a farmer's market every week. I can do this. My husband says, I don't know, honey, it's a lot of work. And I go, oh, no. I got this. Well, then we met with the organizers of the Cuyahoga Falls Irish Festival. It's called the Riverfront Irish Festival. And went through everything, and they said, okay, these are all the things you need to know. And I said, okay. And I went to bed that night, and I was scared. And I was like, I don't think I can do this.
Yeah.
And I woke up the next morning, and I said, and that's exactly why you have to.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, that's a great story for anybody that's out there. Is like, I think that anytime that like I've gone to bed laying on the pillow and like, man, it's going to be a lot of work. It's going to be a pain in the butt. It's a little bit scary, but boy, is that going to be fun when it's like gratifying as hell. And that's kind of how the conference started. I had moved back. I had this idea. I had attended conferences in other cities. Finally, I was in Rochester, Minnesota at the Mayo Clinic Social Media Healthcare Summit, sitting in the basement of a hotel for 2 days, speaking at a conference. And if you've ever been to Rochester, Minnesota, it's really hard to get to. Like, there's nothing in between. You got to fly in. And there was like 200-300 people from across the country there.
mm-hmm.
So I just said, like, man, like, if they could pull that off in the basement of a hotel in Rochester, Minnesota, like we should be able to do this in Youngstown, Ohio. And
Mhm.
so the flight was delayed. Then they put me on a bus from Rochester to the Twin Cities, which is beautiful cow country, but it's not what I really wanted to be doing away from my family. Poured myself into bed at 2 o'clock in the morning. And finally, that was enough motivation to wake up the next day and call my web developer to say, let's put up this website and say that we're coming in 2016, and then we'll figure it out as we go. And I commend you for wanting to take that on. Obviously we're coming up on St. Patrick's Day, and it's a big day of celebration, obviously for Irish families, and then anybody that obviously wants to be Irish for a day. But I do feel like the culture can go deeper into a celebration like the other ethnicities that we have here in the area. Um, Food for thought. I have a really good friend of mine that danced in Michael Flatley's Lord of the Dance. He was one of the only American born dancers at the time in the troupe for like 2 years. He toured North America like a rock star at like 18, 19 years old. And then he lost his spot. And then he ended up um, like about 5 years ago, pre-COVID, forming his own dance troupe, and they toured like the small big cities. So they went to these moderate size halls, like a little smaller than a Stambaugh auditorium, but they went to those size halls every year for the past 4 years up until COVID. So maybe I could get them for you.
That no, that would be awesome. That would be absolutely fantastic. I'm always looking for, the contacts and the connections, and that's something that I've really learned is that, not to be cliche, but it's not what you know, but it's who you know.
Hmm.
And that's not to say that like you have to have the connections, but it's about the networking, it's about the making the connections, it's about the, hey, can you help me out with this? um who might that, this person might know this person might know this person. My husband and I, we went to, I want to say it was a Mentor, but Irish festival in Cleveland then, because now, and God bless my husband. I mean, my husband is just awesome. I mean, because he, I come up with these crazy ideas and he's just, okay, whatever, honey, whatever you want to do. And he's very, very supportive of me. But I said, I want to go check out this Irish festival in Cleveland. And we went up there and I met Bridget from Sullivan's Brewing Company. And we became very fast friends. We had a lunch and had an instant connection. And so my son and I went to the movies the other night, and we went to the premiere showing of The Batman, which was very good, by the way.
Where'd you go?
Cuyahoga Falls was the only place that had seats.
Oh, all right.
So we went.
I'm gonna hook you up with tickets to Golden Star right in Austintown.
Oh, you know what? I need a contact. No, seriously, I need a contact for them, because what I want to do is, I don't want to, obviously it's too late this year, but next year I want to talk to them about doing an Irish film festival, because I'm also president of the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. I think I didn't tell you that. Here in the area, which we're an Irish Catholic organization, but I want to do an Irish film festival with them. And I also want to see about maybe doing movie nights at Austintown Township Park, doing the outdoor movies. So, and I didn't know if you have a contact there, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I know a guy. I handle all their marketing, so I'll.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, we went up to see Batman, and Bridget happened to be at Ohio Brewing Company with Sullivan's, and Ohio Irish has a pop-up shop, and they were there. And so I stopped in and said hello to my friend Bridget, and gave her big hugs, and she says, I want to introduce you to this person and this person and this person. And it's all about the connections, like you said, with Gold Star Cinema, which, by the way, they're fantastic. I absolutely love that movie theater, and like what they have been able to do,
Yeah, the
and what
investment
they're
that they
creating
made.
for our area is awesome.
Yeah, I mean it is, and that's just basically been it, trying to get the word out, just like with the farmers market or the Irish festival this summer, getting the word out and letting people know That place exists with leather recliners and a premium concessions, and you could get a drink and go sit and watch a movie, and you see that in other big cities, and now we've got this luxury here, which is awesome. How do so the farmers market will go? Hold on one second. I thought I had my phone on do not disturb. Um, anyway, how do you go about finding people to basically to sponsor? Is like their sponsorship available for the Irish Fest?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely encouraged. Any
How are you going about procuring those?
Well, right now, honestly, I've had a lot of strong, uh, spoken recommendations to that I should have my sponsorships already in, which I know I do need to have my sponsorships in. However,
What month is this?
this is March.
I know, I'm
We're
joking.
5 months out. We are 5 months out from the Irish Festival. However, um, I did not want to hit up our Irish community, especially, and take away from the Ancient
Yeah.
Order of Hibernians annual luncheon and their program book, which has which has ads available, and that's their biggest fundraiser of the year, and to take away from the St. Patrick's Day parade.
That's
So I
really
was
cool. I could get behind that, but here's what I would recommend that you look at. And so, I kind of give away the keys to the kingdom here. But one of the things that others have followed suit. One of the things
uh
that we did early on with the conference. So we had our traditional sponsors in our first year because we started, and we actually got the first website up around in December or January, and then actually started adding content to it. And I want to say around now, and we landed on probably our first sponsors, and our conference was in August, so we're around that time frame. But in year two, what we did is we announced year-long sponsorships.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
therefore, it's not just the one-time event, and you're bringing value to those people if you're willing to include them in some sort of marketing aspect throughout the course of the year when you're promoting the Irish Festival, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we're doing now, so we used to open those up for a month after the conference,
Okay.
and we would take like 5, and we would have this procurement process, and there was always kind of like this hustle to like, hey, we're going to get 5 sponsors, and then I just decided, with the way that COVID's impacted the world, I was like, if we're going to do this annually, why limit ourselves to this procurement period? So like right now, if I were to sign a sponsor up for DOYO Live, and it's for a year, they're going to have sponsorship from basically today until March 3rd, 2023.
Yeah.
And when that's coming up on its expiration date, so that'll carry them through the conference, and then they'll carry them through like activities like we do with our podcast, or things like that. Now you control the Austintown Farmers Market as well.
Correct.
So that's the other thing that I would tell you is that I don't know what the sponsorship looks like. And I might be speaking out of turn here, but one of the things that you can do is for again, I love the fact that you're like, hey, look, I'm sensitive to this is March, and I don't want to step on toes, and do not put yourself in some sort of crazy bind. Is that you can get sponsorship, obviously, for the Irish Festival, and figure out a way to combine that into the Austintown Farmers Market to give additional value to the market as well.
Okay.
You know what I
That's a
mean?
good idea. Well,
Yeah,
and I do have to tell you, my first sponsor to come on board, Tim Crow, with Crow's Cabinets,
that's great.
because he's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
and that's super exciting too. Like I've worked with Tim and handled their marketing now for the past 3 years. So I'm really excited that after we get through, we'll be marching in the parade. We've got some very sponsorships, but once we get through this month, then we can sit back down and get creative with some ideas of what we can do with them as well. Because I think that um, we're gonna do an overrated underrated segment little bit later on
Mhm.
in our conversation that it will incorporate food. But I do think that Irish food is somewhat underrated in the grand
Oh,
scheme of
yeah.
things. And
Yeah.
so we combine crows with cooking in their kitchens and food. Um, uh, so that was, I'm sorry, I took us
Well,
down
it's
a
okay.
rabbit hole, and but I get really excited to help and give some advice to people that are out there and do what they can do to be successful. I think anything in this area, when people are really working hard to try to bring positive vibes to the area, is a good thing. Now,
Thank you.
you're a yoga instructor. How'd you get into yoga?
Oh gosh. Well, I guess the biggest part is it was over 20 years ago that my ex-husband, I had always wanted to try yoga, and it was kind of one of those things, and I was never an athlete in school or anything like that, but I'd go to the gym and I'd work out, and my ex-husband was a Marine, and so we moved back from Camp Lejeune, and he went on a deployment. I came home, found a job, bought a house so that, only one of us would really be in transition at the time. And he came home and, he was Joe Marine, I mean, like, and we went to a yoga class at the YMCA, and we were in tree pose, which is the one you're here and your foot is
Right.
on the inside of your leg and you're balancing, and he could not do it. I mean, he was just like a spaghetti noodle that had been cooked, and I just kind of looked over, and it's not very yogic of me, but I was in the beginning stages, and I just looked over, I'm like, ha 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 ha. Yeah, you suck. Um Obviously exes are exes for a reason, so there was a little bit of an adversarial relationship there.
Mhm.
But in any event, and so I kind of started there, and then when I was pregnant with our son Brian, I had asked for yoga tapes. So this is how long ago it was. So I was given some beginner yoga tapes for Christmas that year,
Yeah.
and I truly felt like yoga helped me get me through my pregnancy. And then I became a fitness instructor, and I taught all kinds of different classes at the YMCA and different places, and I just continued on through my yoga journey. I studied at Cleveland Yoga up in Beechwood, and I studied with Maureen Lauragata at the Yoga Room in Niles, and I would kind of life would take me away from my yoga, and then life would bring me back to it, and
Right.
every time I would kinda go down a different road and learn something new, which was really awesome for me. When I really got into it the first time, I was like kick ass. My body was like, I felt like I could take anything on. And then the second time, it kind of changed my worldview, and it changed the way I saw things outside of myself. And then it really started to change me and change my heart and my soul in a good way. I mean, I've always been a very positive person. I've always been, a very happy, optimistic person. My nickname growing up was Happy. I've had friends who have called me Pollyanna. Um, but it really helped me kind of dig deeper into myself and become a better person. Well, I hope a better person. And teach me humility. But so then I was at a point that I was teaching fitness full time. I was teaching 25 hours or 25 classes a week between personal training sessions. I also teach spinning again. I was teaching spinning, personal training, water fitness, swim lessons, yoga, all this stuff. But what happened was I was chasing the dollar and not chasing my passion.
Sure.
And I got really burned out, and I walked away from it because I said, it's not fun for me anymore, and I don't want to do it. And then, so I was teaching chair yoga at the time, and I was, doing different things. and then COVID hit. And I really kind of became the poster child for COVID in a lot of ways with my circle, because actually 2 years ago today, I was exposed to COVID, and I've been
Okay.
dealing with it ever since. I have long COVID. I am part of 3 different research studies at the National Institute of Health. So it really affected me in many, many, many ways, and very challenging ways. Um, but that's where my yoga, I had to come back to it, and I had to find it again, and I had to say, let me process what I've been through. And that's been so helpful for me. So now what happened is I had joined Creekside in Campfield right before I went in February of 2020 wanting to join. I said, I need a new gym family. I know that I need, I want a pool. Let me just go here. And they said, wait till March because we have a March Madness sale. And I don't know
Yeah.
if they still have it, but at the time, and they said, and it'll save you money. I said, of course. So, well, again, then March 2020 hit and everything kind of went to pot. And I joined, but I wasn't going. And they have a group for their members. And I saw that they didn't have a yoga instructor anymore. And I thought, and I'm more physically challenged now than I have been before.
Yep.
And I thought, which is why sometimes I mess up my words. So I'm not having a stroke on you. It's just what happens. But so I said, well, let me ask. I said, I bet I could go in and I can just talk and I can teach and it's fine. And that's what I've started doing. And so then they had an opening for a spinning instructor. And I went and I'm like, listen, guys, I can't do it at the level that I want to push you at. I will coach you through those parts, but we can do this together. And, because they need an instructor. And they've been so, and again, it's just about being yourself and being honest and being authentic and, not having to feel shame for not being able, having the perception of where you think you need to be and just being honest about it. And they've been so gracious and so awesome. And so, yeah, so I'm back there. I teach yoga there Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 a.m. I teach spinning Wednesdays at 9, and I'm going in to teach, to sub a chair yoga class later this morning. And I love volunteering my time to teach. I've done prenatal classes for bridal shower or baby showers. I've taught at schools. I've taught school teams. I love volunteering and doing that. I've done right before COVID. My cousin was fighting breast cancer, which she's, won that fight, thank God. But so we did some fundraisers for her that I did rage yoga, and we did margaritas and yoga, yoga margarita brunch and things like that. And I volunteered my time with that. On Monday, I'm teaching the Youngstown City School food service department, chair yoga and stress management techniques and breathing pranayama. So yeah, I'm really very passionate about it.
Yeah, and we have my soon to be 11-year-old son Teo to blame for all of the COVID lockdown.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, so at his 9th birthday, he pulled a Kevin McCallister from Home Alone. He blows out his candles and says, "I don't want school for 2 years." And he got it. It was like his birthday's March 14th. The stay-at-home order came March 15th. Yeah.
That
So,
is, oh my gosh. Yeah, you know what?
so
I don't even know what to say. That is like a Disney movie in the making.
in 2 more weeks here, he better wish for like $1 million to just show up on the doorstep.
You know what? I think that's a great idea. I think that is wow. Yeah. Well, don't put that on him though.
No, I'm not going to put that. We only put COVID on him in the entire world pandemic. Otherwise, we don't put much else on him.
Yeah,
So, congratulations on being the Irish Woman of the Year. You're going to be
Thank you.
honored at a luncheon, or what does that entail? And what's the society?
So, okay, so the Ancient Order of Hibernians and the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians, and again, I'm president locally of the Ladies Ancient Order of Hibernians. That who they are is we're Irish Catholics, okay, and so it's a little bit difficult because, like, if I meet someone, I'll be like, "Are you Irish? Are you Catholic?" And it sounds exclusionary, and that's a challenge for me. Anything that we do, and I hate to always say, like, again, pre-COVID, but pre-COVID, we had a night of Irish music at the hall, and it was awesome. It was amazing. And anyone is welcome to anything that we do except for the meetings. You have to be a member to come to the meetings. And to be a member, you have to be Irish and Catholic. But what they're going to do is we'll be in the parade. So
Awesome.
previously, we always had like a separate car for the president and a separate car for the Irish Woman of the Year. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to be with the people I want to be with. Like, I don't want to be by myself. Like, what's the point of there's no like crake is the Irish term for fun. Like, where's the crake in that? I mean, like, let's have fun. We've been too long without it. And so
Right.
we actually are having a party bus.
That's
So
awesome.
for the parade. So yeah, so come see us, or I'll come see you because I'm sure I'll be like, depending on the weather, uh, meandering around. But so we'll have the party bus and we'll be in the parade in that. And then will you be at the magic tree afterwards?
So, no,
Oh, you
unfortunately,
said you won't be in the parade. That's right.
I would love to. It's my wife's birthday, and
Mm,
I don't know that
Under,
she wants to spend her birthday marching in the parade.
Understandable. That is
So
understandable.
we'll
So,
see if we can make it to the Magic Tree, which is going to
but
have a really good party in the parking lot, locally owned. John Ruby's a great guy. Get over there and
yeah.
support, their business. Yeah, I mean, just yeah.
Well, we will be doing so yeah, so we'll be in the parade and then we'll be at the magic tree afterwards hanging out, I'm sure. But then on March 17th at 10:30 a.m. there will be a mass at St. Patrick's Church Cathedral in Youngstown on the south side there, which is a love
Yeah.
that church. It's so beautiful. That our chaplain, Father Kevin Peters, will be having mass. And so we'll have mass. And after the mass, we will be having a luncheon where, I'll be honored. Uh, and I'm honestly a humble, like, I don't know. Do humble people say they're humble? But I think I'm a humble person. But we'll have a luncheon afterwards and that's where we have the program book where people can send congratulations through the program book if they're not able to come to luncheon. But I will tell you what, it is the best corned beef I've ever had, with the exception of my sister Hibernian, Missy Kelly. She makes a little bit better corned beef than Jeff Crystal does, but Jeff Crystal makes the food. He puts on a fabulous spread, and it is corned
Bold,
beef and
bold
potatoes.
statements from our guest Shannon Lehn today. Austintown Farmers Market. They're indoors. They're going to be outdoors starting when?
We will be outdoors starting June 8th.
June 8th, and great event to get over to that. She's planning and to the inaugural Irish Festival this summer in Youngstown, Ohio, over my birthday weekend. That's my birthday weekend.
Oh, well then I'll buy you a birthday drink.
There we go. And getting ready to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And then, you know what? Dumb luck, right? Luck of the Irish. We were going to have you on a couple weeks ago during Super Bowl weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it made more sense to have you on now because of everything that
Yeah.
you've got going on. And so the segue that we're going to make is into overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Okay.
All right?
Can I tell you something first though?
Go ahead.
I love that you used Luck of the Irish the right way.
Oh,
That it is a Murphy's Law kind of thing.
yeah.
And not because the way that it came about was, well, it must be the luck of the Irish because surely you couldn't have been successful because you're smart. and it was a backhanded compliment. And so I love that you used it the right way. But yeah, no, I think it's all good.
That's good. All right, here we go. Um, um, Guinness on St. Patrick's Day. Overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Overrated. Guinness is now owned by the English. Have Sullivan's instead.
Sullivan's.
Sullivan's is out of County Kilkenny in Ireland. Not everyone has it. It's going to be coming to the area soon, I believe. A properly poured Guinness, yes. Green, but I
No
still drink
green
it.
beer.
I still drink
Anybody
it.
that's out there on St. Patrick's Day, you amateurs, do not drink green beer.
Have what I call a redheaded Tully, which is Tullamore and ginger ale.
Okay. I say, so I'm very superstitious with Guinness and corned beef on St. Patrick's Day. Now, that's not to say that I wouldn't have another Irish stout, but I think that Guinness is properly rated. I think that rating fell just a bit with the ownership and Bev and all that stuff that went on. But I do like to imbibe in that.
I will, so for sure.
All right, so
it's what's around.
We're gonna go Irish food here, and we'll stick to the St. Patrick's Day theme. Whether you're a corned beef sandwich or a Reuben sandwich type of person, overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Properly rated.
I'm going to go underrated. I think that a Reuben is a significantly underrated sandwich. You got corned beef, you've got kraut, you've got a little bit of Thousand Island, some crusty bread, and I would also say give a plug for Magic Tree for no fee at all. They make a great Reuben.
Oh, yes, they do. And I had that the last time we were there. It was fantastic. And you know what? And probably I have to say underrated because I probably have Reubens more often than most. And so I would say definitely have a Reuben. And a Reuben, they do not serve Reubens in Ireland. You will never find one there. Well, maybe you will, but it's not a traditional Irish food. So it was born out of people living in tenements and kind of swapping foods. And so it is the melting pot that is America. So it's a very Irish American food, which I appreciate.
Yeah, we've Americanized a lot of Italian cuisine. Some of our best meals come out of poverty. You know, polenta parties is kind of an in vogue thing to do, but that's basically cornmeal and some sauce, and that's poor people's food, right? And it's good.
Yeah. I mean, gotta love it.
St. Patrick's Day overall, overrated, underrated, properly rated.
Underrated.
I think it's significantly underrated because of the fact that and I think that this goes for all ethnicities, not just one in general, but we tend to underrate the accomplishments and the contributions of, I think, ethnicity to this great nation, and the country was built on the backs of immigration, right? And so every ethnicity had it. Fortunately for you, and I don't want to go too far deep and bring you down into my mess, but nobody's coming to cancel your holiday. Although there's probably people that get some angst about it. But Columbus Day is under extreme attack, so I digress.
Right, but by the same token, the biggest celebration people generally have for Columbus Day is a coat sale. So what we need to do is, and St. Patrick was of Roman descent,
right?
So I mean, there's a lot of questions about it, but yeah, and St. Patrick's Day is not celebrated in Ireland the way it is in the United States.
Right.
It's become very Americanized, and yeah, I mean, I like to look at it. I did a lot with my ancestry. And one thing that I found was my great-great-grandfather. So the father of my grandma who came to America, in the height of the Great Hunger, the Great Starvation, where it was genocide by the English on the Irish at the time, was 1847. And he was 15 years old and arrested and sent to prison for stealing wool. And his arrest record said he was dirty, illiterate, scrawny, and I just think about it, and I think about the hardships that our ancestors went through, and that the strength that they must have had, and that strength is in me, and that helps me get through whatever I need to get through.
Yeah, and that's hey, look, like unfortunately, I think the stereotype on St. Patrick's Day is a big drunken mess, and it is a part of the celebration, but it's obviously, I think that part of it's way overrated. I think that so many people get together and they celebrate, and they go to mass, and they're engaged with their heritage and their families, and there's all these traditions that come along with it. Shannon, I just want to thank you for being on the Do You Live Marketing Show today. It's been
Oh,
a real
thank you.
pleasure. Hopefully, we'll get to meet, and I'm sure we will here sometime soon, knowing that you're putting on the Irish Festival this summer, and you've got some mutual friends of ours engaged with you with that. So we're excited about that. Best of luck to you in your endeavors on that as well. And then also we'll have to get out to the Austintown Farmers Market here once the weather gets going and breaks for us. Look forward to supporting you on that. So thank you for being here today.
I truly look forward to seeing you in person, Dennis, and thank you so much for your time and for just everything. You're awesome. Thank you for all you do for our valley.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. So, hey, everybody, listen up. We are wrapping up the show for today. I have no idea who is on next week. So, anyway, I'm sure we've got another amazing guest, and get to doyoulive.com. Not much here. Like we'll be not much here. That's a great marketing hype, right? We'll be getting ready to announce our speaker lineup and what we're going to be doing actually for the conference this year in about another month and a half. And meanwhile, everybody have a great weekend. The weather's supposed to be 70 degrees tomorrow. Yay. Might snow the next day, but enjoy it while we got it. So everybody have a great weekend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Dennis.
Thank you.